Hello and welcome to ABP Live. I have with me today Minister Abdulla Shahid. He is the Minister of Foreign Affairs for Maldives. Welcome to ABP Live, sir, and thank you for talking to us.
My pleasure.
So you are coming at a time in India when your country, you're heading for a very difficult election. I would call it difficult because we in India getting to hear many voices. The opposition is making it all the more difficult. But how you see the chances are for you to come back? The Solih government, and also do you see elections at this time taking place at a time when there are so many geopolitical tensions? Does it make it more difficult for you?
Well, any election is a chance. But given the good work President Solih has done in the past 4 years, especially development of infrastructure and projects that are directly impacting the lives of so many, I think this election, President Solih is going to win easily. We are already seeing coalition partners coming behind President Solih. They are doing so because they also can see the good work that has been done.
Okay. If I can ask you, within your party, again, we are hearing from your media itself, and also, the reports that we hear is that within the party, there are tensions probably happening. Is former President Nasheed in the race? How are you mitigating those challenges?
Well, these are challenges that we will have to face. There are instances in democracies where parties sometimes have internal factions. You would recall that in the United States, the Tea Party came in and disrupted the party a little bit. Nevertheless, the party maintained itself, and we saw it go ahead and win elections. So does the Maldives. Since we are a full-fledged democracy, and our party being the first established democratic party in the country, we are proud of our internal democracy. So we have party primaries. We have in the past had instances where the defeated candidate doesn't necessarily back the candidate who won in parliamentary elections or council elections. It's unfortunate that we are witnessing it at the very highest level of the party.
So, if I can ask you, since coming to power, Mr. Solih had done a lot from 2018 onwards. Can you shed some light in some of the work that this government has done, and how do you think when you come back, what will be the people from Maldives and also your neighbors would be expecting out of you?
Well, President Solih came promising the upliftment of the standard of living of the people and building infrastructure. For example, clean water and sewerage. When we came into office, only 30% of Maldives had access to clean water and proper sewerage facilities. By the time we finish our term, all the islands in the Maldives, for the first time in history, and we are talking about 2023, for the first time in history, all the islands will have access to fresh water and proper sewerage. We have started housing projects. For the first time, any government will complete and hand over housing that was started during their term. So this will be the first time that it's going to happen. We have initiated a network of connectivity from the north, and it is being established throughout the archipelago. It has connected almost all the atolls in the north. This is a ferry system whereby the islands are connected so that individuals would know what time they will be able to travel from one island to the other, and at a fixed rate, like the transport system that you have here, train and buses. We are, because of the large ocean state we are, we have to build it as a ferry system, launch systems, high-speed ferry. We have started establishing hospitals. We have started paving roads, building airports. Two international airports are being built, one in the north and the other one in the south, which Adwatol Airport is being upgraded. The airport in Hanimadu is going to be a brand new international airport. Several domestic airports have been built. We have started, and the project is on track in connecting Malé to Vilingili Island, to Tilafushi and Gulifal.
The Greater Malé project.
Yes, the Greater Malé Connectivity Project, the largest infrastructure project in the history of the Maldives, is continuing. So these are just a few of what is going on. President Solih initiated free education up degree level. 15,000 scholarships have been given. Many of them are studying. Over 6,000 students have already graduated. So these are tangible results of a government which is working to uplift its people.
So, if I can ask you, Minister, in some of the projects that you have named, you've been developing it also with assistance from India. Now, India is concerned that in case there is a change of regime in Maldives, all these projects can face a jeopardy because, frankly, India has been dragged into the internal political scene where, the opposition has even called out for an India out campaign. So how do you see that? Do you think these projects can be jeopardized?
The India out campaign is the dying call of a dictatorship. They have not been able to come up with any solid policies for the people of Maldives. And that is why they are continuing to promote hatred against our largest neighbor, hatred against our best friend, and that is all they have. They spread fear and hate. But the people of Maldives are much more wiser. This is a group of amateurs who are trying to be amateurish. But what they are doing is dangerous because fermenting such hatred is not good anyway.
But do you think the projects, they will be there? And I mean, you are sure that you will be coming back, your party will come back. But what chance does the opposition have? And what about the projects that we are talking about? Because that's where India has focused a lot.
The people of the Maldives have seen these projects and the way it is going on. And they will vote us in because the good work that has been done by the administration of President Solih is too vivid, too clear for the people. Just think of the commitment for decentralization. For the first time in history of the Maldives, there's complete decentralization. Power actually has been transferred from the center to the island councils, to the atoll councils. And this has been not only legislated, but complete commitment from the administration has been seen. So people in the islands, I believe, and the people of Maldives believe, that that is the way to govern, and that is the spirit of the constitution. We have a government for the last 4 years have clearly maintained rule of law, clearly demonstrated its commitment that the constitution, there is separation of power in the constitution. Last 4 years we have not tried to interfere in the parliament, nor in the judiciary. The executive is taking its role of executive power seriously. Unlike last regime, they tried to interfere in the parliament by sending the military into the parliament. I was one of the members of parliament who got arrested. President Solih got arrested. The current defense minister got arrested. We were all prosecuted for 2 months. We were not even allowed to go into the parliament. We were being prosecuted for going into the parliament, a job that we were elected to do. And then we saw the former regime go into the Supreme Court, arrest the Chief Justice and another judge, another justice, and imprison them. We saw the government declare state of emergency twice. But this government, no. We have been able to govern the place, govern our country as the Constitution stipulates. So the people will vote for us.
But Minister, what about economic growth? I know you've done a lot for infrastructure development. There also comes a factor, and former President Shahid, whenever he had come to India, he talked about the debt that Maldives has because of some of the Chinese projects there. How do you plan to address that going forward? Should you come back to power again?
Well, we have been paying the debt. We continue to raise debt. Because for a country like Maldives, which has been graduated from LDC to middle income country, very rarely now we get grant assistance.
Right.
We have to go for concessional finance, which is hard to come by because of the world economic situation. But then, despite the challenges of the 2 years of COVID, look at the Maldives. We have not only survived, the economy has grown. World Bank has recognized that one of the best countries coming out of this pandemic has been the Maldives because of solid economic policies of President Solih.
Also, in terms of your relationship with India, the security tie especially, there is on one hand India, Sri Lanka and Maldives dialogue that is there that the NSAs run, and then there is also a booming military relationship between India and Maldives. How do you see that headed in the next, let's say, 5 years?
Well, Maldives is in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and I always term it as the heart of the Indian Ocean. For us, it is essential that there's peace, prosperity, and stability in the Indian Ocean. If there's conflict in the Indian Ocean, if there's instability in the Indian Ocean, Maldives is going to suffer the most because we are the smallest. And that is why we have such excellent relationship with all our neighbors, especially with India. India being the largest nation, we have a very special relation. And it's time-tested and proven. We have seen India come to our assistance in every emergency we have had, be it 1988 mercenary attack in the Maldives sovereignty, be it the 2004 tsunami, be it the 2015 water crisis in Malé city, or be it the COVID pandemic. India's commitment to Maldives and its people have been time-tested and proven. And that is why we have this very special relationship with India. When it comes to security, India, Sri Lanka and Maldives, we started the NSA talks. But then it is also heartening to see that other Indian Ocean states are coming on board.
Right.
We have Mauritius joining in, we have Bangladesh coming in, and then it's clear that for the Indian Ocean to be peaceful and stable and prosperous, we need more countries to join. We need the IORA, the Indian Ocean Rim Association, to be alive and functioning, which it is. We are delighted that after President Solih came into office, immediately after he was in office, we were admitted to IORA. A role which we will take very seriously. We will continue to make sure that Indian Ocean remains peaceful, secure, and prosperous.
And Minister, my last question to you, just to understand, right now when we are talking, the Russia-Ukraine war has gone on for over a year, and probably the war will intensify considering what's happening at the city of Bakhmut. So, in terms of Maldives being the silent nation, I'm sure you are facing a lot of difficulties in terms of supply chain disruption or probably tourism. What are the adverse impact that Maldives is facing due to the war?
Well, tourism is never helped by war in any part of the world. Especially for the Maldives, a war in Europe would impact the tourism industry in the Maldives. When the war started, the figures show that 4% of our arrivals were from Ukraine. So it's completely stopped. And then the Russian market maintained, but slight decrease. Still, this year, Russian market is our number one source market. We have our majority of tourists do come from Europe. So if there's instability in Europe, the market will suffer. But in spite of all this, I must say that in 2022, we were able to match the pre-COVID figures of arrivals. 2019 figures were achieved.
In tourism?
In tourism.
Okay.
But not so lucky when it comes to other areas. Fuel, energy prices, the fluctuations, it has impacted us because we import all our fuel, all our energy. We import all our food. The food crisis, the energy crisis, it's impacting the Maldives and all small island states, all the LDC countries, because such crises impact the lowest in the rung more quickly and for longer. So that is what is happening to us. We need to understand, we need to convince everyone that war anywhere today, because of the interconnected nature of today's world, impacts everyone. The war could be in Europe, the war could be in any part of the world, but it will have an impact on all of us around the world.
Just a sub question to that, Mr. Shahid, since you said that, since the war impacts smaller economies more, how are you planning to address them if the war continues for, a longer time? Because that's what we are hearing from the Western countries also. That's all they are saying, that, it might drag on. If it does, do you plan to collaborate with other countries, form a trilateral maybe, or a minilateral to sort of see at least the food and energy security, that crisis is sort of mitigated?
Well, we are engaging with all our friends to mitigate the crisis, not only due to the war in Europe, but also other man-made crises, like the climate crisis. We are ready and we are working with all our friends so that we would be able to overcome. Maldives has a very principled foreign policy, and that is why Maldives has garnered so much respect internationally today, and we will continue to do so.
Okay. Thank you so much, Minister. Thank you for talking to us. That was His Excellency Minister of Foreign Affairs for Maldives, Abdulla Shahid. You were watching this interaction on ABP Live. For ABP Live, this is Nayanima, Basu.